Right here, we're going to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance, and Alderman Betts is going to lead us in prayer afterwards. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray, please. Father in heaven, we are truly grateful for the way that you have watched over us in this day, giving us a beautiful day of life, and we are grateful for your love to us. We thank you now for the opportunity to serve this community, and I pray you would bless this time together. Help us, Lord, to make decisions for the betterment of this community, for we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right. It's good to see you all here. It's a good crowd. I appreciate you showing up tonight. I'm going to ask our clerk, Jay LaShawn, if he'll do roll call.
Town of Vidalia Board of Aldermen roll call for regular meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen dated September 10th, 2019. Alderman Betts.
Present.
Alderwoman Dorey.
Present.
Alderman Gardner.
Here.
Alderman McCoy. Alderman McCoy is noted to be absent at this time. Alderman Probst.
Here.
Mayor, let the record show a quorum of the board is present.
Okay, all right. First thing we have to address is approval of our minutes from the previous meetings. You have those before you. Is there any questions on the minutes?
Move that we accept as written.
Yes. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
She did.
You said, oh, you made the motion? Okay, I'm sorry.
I second.
Okay. I didn't quite hear that, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Okay. Motion made by Alderman Dorey, second by Alderman Gardner. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, item number 1 on our agenda is review of the financial statements for July 2019.
The financials for tonight's meeting have been distributed to the aldermen and department heads. They include the balance sheet as of July 31st, 2019, the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance for the 1 month ending July 31st, a budget to actual comparison by fund, and a detailed budget to actual comparison by department. The balance sheet indicates that we have $3.9 million in cash, investments of $3.8 million, total assets of $33.1 million, total liabilities of $4.5 million, and a fund balance of $28.7 million. The statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in fund balance for the 1 month ending July the 31st indicates we have combined revenues of $3.2 million, total expenditures of $2.3 million, and a change in net position of $875,000. The financials for tonight's meeting represent that 1 month in the new fiscal year ending June 30th, 2020. Cash available is strong, payables are being paid on time, and money is available for road maintenance. The hydro royalty rebates are being calculated, and the process of determining who will get rebates and how much has begun. The 2019 year end is complete and has been turned over to the auditors for their audit. They have not yet begun their field work. General liability insurance did not increase as expected, but you will see a difference this year in the total amount that's allocated to the departments. We've revised our allocation of the insurance premium to each department to more accurately reflect the insurance cost. The town did acquire coverage for cybersecurity, which is additional this year that we didn't have before, and it's a good thing. I think it'll be something that's highly recommended. Construction at the port has halted until the river recedes. Production at the hydro plant is at its optimal level, generating the most dollars in royalty payments. Our cost is at the maximum level, but is constant. The situation, in turn, is maximizing the net revenue in the hydro fund. And then during July, the only capital outlay purchase was a used van for the IT department. And the funds with the largest revenue over expenses are in the hydro fund with $382,000, the sales tax fund $114,000, and the utility fund $105,000. That's excess revenue over expenses in those departments.
Okay, thank you, Deborah. Is there any questions? Anybody from the council have a question of Deborah on the financial report? What she did mention was we added something to our liability insurance dealing with cybersecurity. And Bo's here, who is an agent that representing our town, and he showed us some of the things that we had to do. It's hard to explain, but it's really something we needed. So, Bo, thank you for leading us to that. As a matter of fact, we did have an issue that helped, yeah, right after that. So we had the people in place to handle that, and they did a good job with that. So, okay, no other questions. We'll go to our occupational license applications. The first one is Marie Johnson Calhoun. The trade name is Vital Infuse of the Miss Slew LLC. Is Marie? Hey, okay, can you tell us a little bit about your business and
Yes, what it is, it's almost like a mobile spa. And the oxygen part is actually non-medical, but it's a concentrator that I use. It's a bar that I ordered. The oxygen bars, they're really big around the U.S. right now. So about 6 liters of oxygen, and it's scented oxygen, and the oxygen is used for different things, health reasons. It's almost like going to GNC, getting something to kind of help you move better, help you sleep better, help you feel better, give you a little energy. That's what the oxygen does. The IV part is almost the same thing, but it's a small bore tube that's inserted into your veins, and you can use just a regular IV bag, a normal saline for hydration, or I can add vitamins to it, which I will only use vitamins B, C, D, and E, and those are also for health reasons. And only licensed nurses, nurse practitioners will actually do it.
okay? Anybody questions from the council? Any questions?
Were you informed that when you used your home address as your business address, that you would now be classified commercial? Okay, good deal. I make the motion to approve.
Okay, motion made, do I hear a second? Second by Alderman Gardner, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next, we have Tiger Tracks Driving Academy. Are they here this evening? What that is going to be a driver education training, which I understand is going to be done at the Vidalia High School Library. I think these people the owners are currently teaching and also are approved by the Department of Public Safety and State Police. I know it's something that's been missing here for a long time, and has anybody got any questions on that, approving this occupational license?
I make the motion. to
Motion
approve.
made by Alderman Dorey, do I hear a second? Second by Alderman Gardner, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. The next one you might have in your packet is not for our town. They put it in there, but it's out of the city limits, so that is not something that we will take a look at. Next, we have our item 3 on our agenda is outdoor sign applications. If anybody been down Logan Sewell Drive will see we have a sign. AJ, was you going to put that up for people to see? It's already up. Okay, thank you. This is the sign that used to be where Through the Loom was, Vidalia Mills, and actually they've got it up already. But if Derek would like to comment, I guess, Derek, while we're at this point, you want to tell us where y'all at? I put you on the spot every time you show up.
Yeah, I do it. Right now, we got about 23 people that's working with us, 20 of them on contract, and 3 full-time. We participated in the job fair 2 weeks ago. We had it in Natchez. And we got where you can apply at the Wind Job Center in Natchez, as well as the Louisiana Workforce in Perry, for all the jobs that we're hiring for: machine operators, supervisors, clerical, security, clerical. So all those positions are listed. We're in the process. Joe Park is here with my HR manager. He came aboard the 12th of August. We're getting ready to interview for safety and other HR assistant support staff. Our goal is to start interviewing and hiring. This week we start some interviewing on the support staff, and then we'll start going for mainline machine operators. Because we want to start production, the goal is to start production in the end of October. Right now we have contractors out installing electric, they're doing electric work, they're doing construction on some of the infrastructure. We're doing showroom, conference room, that type of deal. We got some other guys gonna come in with the compressed air, so we got to have compressed air, electric, and some filtration stuff. The guys from North Carolina came in and hung all the ductwork to all the machines, so it actually looked like now things are in process of moving forward. So once we get that, we got the contractors lined up for compressed air, and like I said, electricians, they should be finished because we want to have it running for show probably by the end of the month when we have guests. We have like 80 fashion designers plus BASF coming to the facility on the 25th of September. We got a sample room spinning frame that we want to put into play, and we get ready to get some more cotton shippers in. So we're getting real close to turn it on full bore on the first phase, which will be spinning.
Okay. All right, any question on the sign app? Thank you, Derek. Any question on the sign application?
I make the motion to
Motion made
Have
by
it.
Alderman Dore to approve.
swap it, let him have it. I stole
Second. I think you
everyone
beat
of
him to the punch. Second by Alderman Gardner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that
Time to move on.
takes us through our sign application. Next on our agenda is discussion of the potential costs to the town related to maintaining the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall. Douglas McAllister is here with us tonight with Point Man International Ministries of the Miss Lou. There's some history with this that's going on, and they've been given a parcel of land, I think, on the south portion of the riverfront to put up a wall, a replica of the Vietnam Wall. That was approved many years ago. Going forward, I feel like that what we'd like to do is have full disclosure on maybe the possibility of the cost associated with that. I'm for that completely, but we need to also know what could be associated with the cost of maintaining it once it's given to the town. What are some of the costs associated with it? And that's, I think, once we go through those things, we'll have a better understanding to finish the agreement, Doug, and go forward with it and to help y'all any way we can, to pursue your project. So if you'd like to, tell a little bit about it, you've got the floor. Sure.
We have been working on this project we actually started on it in 2015, and we had it down at this memorial wall, exact replica of this wall. Today, riverfront, next to the RV park, the parcel of land is 270 Front Street. It's that parcel of land on the right-hand side, on south on the riverfront, that joins the RV park, that backs up to the lake. Very picturesque, serene, quiet place to have such a memorial. And then on that note, I would suggest to you that not tens of thousands of people, but certainly hundreds of people have commented that the one thing they noticed about the wall in Washington is before you ever get to it, there is an air of peace, tranquility, and serenity that you go and enjoy a memorial such as this to honor the more than 58,320 names that are on that wall, 8 of which are women. Now, let's talk a little bit about the cost, and we're going to come right back, Mayor, to this wall cost, let's be upfront about it, $300,000. That's a lot of money to most of us, it certainly is to me. When you break it down, it becomes digestible, and the acceptance of that was manifest immediately when we started talking about building this wall, because we had 2 families that immediately stepped up and said, we will pay $1,000 to have our family listed on a permanent plat as supporters of this wall. And that is just a token. We have had numbers of other groups and individuals who have said, once you have secured the location and it's documented that you have it, we're ready to move forward with the fundraiser. So in my mind, I believe that between the surrounding parishes here and the counties in Mississippi, it breaks down to 150 families or groups that believe that this is a worthwhile memorial, 150 on each side of the river. To this date, we have collected $22,000 toward the cost of our memorial. And I want to get to the mayor's point. The ongoing cost of the memorial could be incurred once the memorial is complete. Point Man International Ministries gives ownership of that to the town of Vidalia. The town may want the riverfront authority to operate it, or that's left up to the mayor and the board of aldermen. At that point, we, Point Bend Ministries has no ownership interest in it. We do not have any now, and we don't intend to have. We cannot have as a nonprofit. So we give ownership of that to the town of Vidalia. Now the question comes, what potential cost can be incurred? Well, you have to control your imagination, I guess, but some of the things that we would do as veterans is periodically the wall would be updated for someone who was perhaps missing in action, and now they've been identified and repatriated to the United States, and now they can be listed as killed. Occasionally, there is a name change because of that, and then again, once the missing in action folks are identified, we would add their names to it at no cost to the town whatsoever. Insofar as the contract and the agreement goes for the wall, American Veteran Traveling Tribute, with the manufacturers of the wall, agree that they will circumvent any cost incurred as far as the updating of the walls.
Because, just, I don't mean to interrupt, but from my understanding was, when they do that, there's several panels on this wall that has several names, correct? Is that?
Correct.
And when they change that, it changes the whole panel, and that's one of the things that, you know, we just want to make sure it's spelled out in a contract prior to that. If they're going to be responsible, could we make that a part of the contract, you know, that, of what they are going to do, the people who are the builders or designers of the wall on those upgrades? I mean, I just think that's something we need to have spelled out, rather than them just telling us that, I mean, as far as going forward.
If there is a change, it's only on that one line, it's not the panel.
Okay.
And sometimes when there's, the identification is made, it's usually made just by an engraving on that one line. But you don't change the panel to change one name or add one name. You can do that, and I've seen where the wall we had, I've seen where it has been updated. If you know what to look for, you can tell it. Otherwise, it's very inconspicuous. On the wall, let me mention this too, as far as the size of it. This wall will be an 80% scale replica of the wall in Washington. It'll be 272 feet long. At the apex, it will be 8 feet tall. It will taper down to 10 3/4 inches for the panel on the east wall and on the west wall. At the apex, 125 degrees. There are 4 panels on the east, 4 panels on the west that are 8 feet tall. And then it begins to taper down to the 10 3/4 inch wall on the extreme end, on either end of it. When those names are put on that wall, they're put on there chronologically by date of casualty. I would ask you to consider this. I've never seen the wall in Washington, but I'm going to. I think God intends that I'll see it one day, and I believe I'm going to see it. There are tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, and requires no tortured stretch of your imagination, that mothers, fathers, sons, granddaughters, school children, it just goes on, who will never see that wall in Washington. But this is an opportunity for them to see one in Concordia Parish, in the town of Vidalia, Louisiana, and to be a resolute combined effort, which I hope most people would enjoy and appreciate that, being a collaborative effort, because that's what makes these projects successful, is a collaborative effort on both sides of the river with this board. The question has been brought up, and it comes up recurring sometimes, what about vandalism? Well, the short answer to that is this. The criminal element doesn't need to tell us before we put them on board. I have the utmost confidence in our sheriff's department, and our police department, and in the unlikely event that they would need our assistance, we just better step forward for that too. I'd like to answer any questions that y'all may have.
Okay, any questions?
This cooperative endeavor agreement is unsigned. Why have we not gone ahead and moved forward with this?
Because we haven't, these costs that we're associated with was brought to attention before I signed it, and I thought that we need to have full understanding of what our responsibility is going to be when it's turned over to us. This was an agreement that was kind of redone from a previous agreement that was never designated a site. The site's designated, I'm fine with that. What I was wanting to know is more of a clarification, just on like what Doug said, in the event of changing of names or changing of a panel, how much does a panel cost? You know, heaven forbid nobody would vandalize that, Doug. You know, that's a horrible thought, somebody would do that. However, we have seen things like that, you know. I just felt like that based on that, and we can get a true feel of what the cost, how often does it have to be cleaned, what maintenance-wise, you know, what kind of lighting and things of that nature. I assume that y'all would, you know, the Point Man Ministries would do the design and all of it.
As a matter of fact, we have our architect with us,
Okay.
Johnny Wakefield with us.
Okay.
And, yes, sir, to answer your question, that would be correct. To the point that you mentioned about cleaning the wall, it should be flood water or something, you clean it with something water. It's made out of anodized aluminum, it's highly resistant to rust, and with the atmosphere that it would be on would be pretty clean, not an industrial atmosphere. But, yes, those are good questions and valid questions, and the entire part of our memorial would be lighting and landscaping, everything it takes to make it a complete memorial.
Now, would that be on the city's
No,
responsibility?
sir, that would be a part of our, that would be a part of our.
And the cleaning of it, like you said, if anything came up, you could probably get enough, or we could, as a community, clean it,
Sure.
Yeah, community.
I would think.
I'd like to make a motion that we add an agenda item, which I know calls for unanimous approval of the board, to go ahead and vote on this cooperative endeavor and get this thing in place. Let's go ahead and get moving on it.
Well, that's just a discussion. I mean, I just wanted the town, for full disclosure, to know the possibility of some of the expense. And Alderman Probst asked a question just then that would we have, but when it's turned over to us, we're going to have the maintenance and expense of maintaining flower beds and all the things, whatever supporting things around it. That's,
And Mayor,
and I don't have a problem with that. I just
Have
want-
you got a design on the landscaping part of it?
yes, sir.
You do?
We've got it pretty much in place. As a matter of fact, we have a scale model that we had up here at City Hall for a period of time that Mr. Wakefield built for us. It included landscaping and the way the.
Will it be a lot of flower beds, a lot of maintenance?
Some enough to make it attractive.
Okay.
Mayor, let me regress just for a second. And we all talk in terms of cost, and we should.
I believe there's a motion on the
But in
table.
the case of this memorial, and having been down there with it for 2 weeks, and I've seen this memorial displayed in other cities, donations are a big part of what goes on in one of these memorials. And somebody's going to need to be responsible for the donations. I would suggest that the donations would be used for the maintenance and the upkeep of the wall. But that is one of the things that is at every wall display that I've ever seen. There's a donation box there, and veterans have a tendency to not say anything. They just very quietly go by and make their contribution. But that would be a way to offset potential costs.
No, I don't have a problem with going ahead and executing this document.
Yeah.
Do y'all want to add any of this other where, for example, the makers of the wall is going to, you know, provide these other things free of charge? If you don't, I'll sign it like it is, but it doesn't really spell out responsibilities. I'm gonna leave that up to y'all. Y'all tell me what to do.
I mean, I've made a motion to add an agenda item.
But I don't think we have to really add an item, do we?
Do we have, I mean, do you need board approval for this COA?
That we have in hand?
Right.
You need approval for this, right?
Well, I mean, it's actually been approved. I mean, before I signed it, but when it was presented, it wasn't explained, I don't think. It was
Yeah.
more or less, am I right, Doug? Am I thinking right? When we had
That's what I
this
was thinking.
meeting, it was strictly to identify the area, because you didn't have an area, and you needed that area.
Right.
We didn't go into the details of the contract about, hey,
Right.
we're going to own this thing after they're through with it. And that's what I wanted. I don't think we had clarity into bring that to the full, you know, town, and let's have full clarity. And when it gets turned over to us, we'll have the responsibility. to
Let me
maintain it.
ask him something.
Okay.
Would you want us to add that in there to be able to make sure that that company sticks with their word?
Certainly.
I mean, I think that's the way, that would be a good way to do it in the cooperative endeavor, is to have that company say that they would fulfill their, you know, what they were talking about doing for you,
To that effect, Mayor, that's fine.
It's what the council wants to
which
do.
can be one more month or whatever, you know, but we need to get it.
I'll make the motion that we approve this with the verbiage added into this agreement.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we just came out that we've already approved this many months back, it's just never been executed.
Right.
So we just need to get this thing executed.
But do you want to add in that part about the company fulfilling in this agreement?
Yeah, I mean, if it makes y'all, I mean, absolutely, if it makes y'all feel more comfortable, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I just don't, I want you to go ahead and begin being able to raise your funds
Right.
and, you know, put this thing in the ground. I feel certain that there are some committees around town that would help with the landscape.
Right.
We've been marking time long enough, we need to be, we've been marking time long enough, we need to be stepping 120 steps a minute. And, on that note, this is kind of a personal way of looking at this thing. When you go through the life, the march of life, when you've got Jesus Christ counting cadence, and you got God counting the repetition, you can and you will be successful. Any other questions?
Okay. So, Tommy, you want to?
So I say, well, let's go ahead on with it and make a motion
Add
like she.
add that verbiage to the
Yeah, add that verbiage
contract.
that they will, that company, you know the company.
Sir?
We can add that verbiage
Council,
to
can
it.
we add that to this contract, I mean, to this cooperative endeavor? Do you think that'll be sufficient? They approve that now, add that to it and sign it as is?
The concept's been approved, and these are just details.
Right.
What we do, position, I don't think it's a vote on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's get it signed.
With the additions.
Schedule through and make those changes.
Okay. With those changes, I'll sign it, we'll rock and roll.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board.
All right. All right, now we have item number 5 on our agenda is board approval and signatures on the liaison agreement to comply with the required emergency response procedures for the town gas system. I have with us today, Brian Allred with us. Brian, do you want to tell them a little what they're looking at?
All that is homework for us to stay in compliance with the state regulations. And we have something that we sign every year, and every 3 years with the mayor and board, and it's just probably a good opportunity to get it all done at one time. So basically, name and phone numbers and different things that have contact information in case something needs to be done. And
You just have to sign it.
handle the situation.
Okay, we're signing this now. Brian, any questions the council has of this as we're doing that? This is a highly regulated utility that we have, and our company, our gas company's done a very good job of keeping us in compliance as we move forward with all of our utilities. And as they're signing that, no questions, okay? As y'all sign, I'm going to go ahead and go to item number 6 on our agenda, which is board approval of the audit questionnaire to comply with Louisiana legislative auditor requirements. Our CPA, Deborah, would you like to tell them what that is?
Well, it's something Solomon sent to me to have the board approve, give it the resolution, also sign the questionnaire after we completed the questions, answered all the questions, and all we have to do is to answer the ones that pertain to the town, some of these are for every project expenditures, and all of the answers were yes, we did not. And then you have to give this to the auditors and the comptroller.
Okay, can I hear a motion we accept that?
I make that motion.
Motion
Second.
made by Alderman Gardner, second by Alderman Dory. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now we have the opening and approval of bids on the sale of the surplus town vehicle, a 2004 Ford Taurus. We have one. And that's going to be from Lynn's Enterprise in Purvis, Mississippi, $377. This is the only one we've got. And any questions on that? And that's probably a good price, or if you've seen it. Any questions? Okay, do we approve that? Can I hear a motion we approve that
Make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Alderman Probst, do I hear a second? Second by Alderman Gardner, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now the number 8, and we're getting close to the end of our agenda, is opening and approval of bids on a new town grapple truck. We have several of those. And I do want to say, this is a bad need. If we've had a lot of complaints recently. You've had limbs, excess limbs, that's really kind of started stacking up. We've had a truck down for how long, Lee?
I was down for almost 2 weeks,
And-
back on the road for about 5 days, and luckily still in possession.
So this is something we need. We're going to still keep the old truck just for a backup, but we feel like this is really going to put us in a good shape. It's in the capital outlay part of our budget, so we have the money to buy it. And we'll just decide whether we want to do an outright purchase or lease option. So this is the bids for that. So I just want to let you know this is something that hopefully we won't have the downtime that we've been experiencing here recently.
While we're doing these openings, I want to ask Lee something
Okay.
and see if we can make some kind of a change in our city, to where we can use those grapple trucks without the extent of hauling everything to the landfill. Because what I've heard from just the gravel truck drivers is that we have a place where we can deposit limbs and stuff like that, where we don't have to take them to the landfill and pay tonnage and stuff. Is that true?
Well, we do have a spot that has been put before. I mean, I don't know if I would recommend that place be used all the time, kind of like an emergency situation, that we put stuff there. You'll end up with a whole field full of leaves.
Yes, sooner or later, that's going to be a problem.
Well, I mean, is there a possibility? I mean, if it's not burnable, is it burnable? Is it?
Well,
No, you
in
can't.
order to burn it, we have done it before, and we had to get a permit from the EPA, and we have
Right.
done what they call a drag, which is you have to dig a big, huge pit, we had to hire contractors to burn it all that after 2000, and we had, that was when Hurricane Katrina came through.
Right.
And we had to get a permit to do all that with, I mean, it's something that can be done.
Okay, the other thing is, I know we're using our chipper. We saw it out on the street the other day. First time I've seen it, and I don't know when. So what about using our chipper more to where we don't have as much
The utility
stuff in those trucks where we gotta make so many trips? Because I know a lot of times with those gravel trucks, you stack them up, but a lot of those limbs and stuff that,
We've deployed it several times here in the last couple of months.
We have,
After these storms and all.
whenever we get really behind on the limbs, we run a chipper crew. The utility department uses it most of the time.
right?
They've been cutting a lot, getting ready for winter. They've been cutting a lot of limbs, and they've been using it pretty regular, so.
But I'm just saying, with a lot of that is stuff that you can't keep stacking stuff in, but if you chip it, it's a lot less. Just like you put it on a trailer, hauling limbs or anything. So are we using that efficiently to be able to, where those trucks don't have to haul so often back and forth? Because that's time spent,
As long as we don't have a storm, I mean, we can, pretty much keep up with the limbs.
right?
If we have a storm, it might be, we might want to put a chipper crew on for a couple of days.
One of the things I want everybody to know, and this is a cost that I was really astonished at, when you think about all the trash in today, all the limbs and stuff that goes over to that landfill, do you want to know what it costs our town to take all of that over there for 1 month? And you're going to be shocked when I tell you this. I kind of like, because that sooner or later is going to be an expense on somebody if you stack up a bunch of acreage with
Right.
those limbs. $5,000.
But I'm just saying, but my point
For
is the
everything.
diesel and the other expense of hauling it way out there to Fayette almost, way out there, that we could not have to make so many trips.
Yeah.
Because that's expense too, diesel's expense.
My only
you know?
concern is, and I know this just strictly from being in the timber business, anytime you start stacking up debris like that, you're fixing to start getting into a lot of other permits, because when it rains and hits that wood, there's still a runoff.
Yeah.
And there's permitting and things of that nature, and I just don't know.
Well, that's,
regular-
if the stacking not, but the permit, that and all that, but the chipper is something I think we need to be
Sure, I
more
mean, and-
useful in our process.
And when we
you
get
know?
behind, just like we did this week, we pulled the chipper out, so. All right, let's go through these. I've got, the first one's from Empire Truck Sales out of, it's in Monroe, and the bid is several pages. Sorry, we do have to open these on the spot, so I'm sorry that I have to go through all the pages to find the amount of it. Okay. That's the warranty. Okay, the bid price is $140,849.
Does purchase?
That's purchase. That's a Freightliner, and that is, it's got different service contracts with it. They've got one with Navistar and one with Cummins, I think, depending on which motor you get. And the warranty on it's, I think their services and towing, they'll tow it for up to 60 months under 200,000 miles. Anyway, that's the bid on that one, so
And that's a purchase, right?
that's purchase, yes. Okay. Any questions on that? Lee, do you have any questions on this?
Did it say what kind of bed down the back of it?
It has everything on it. It's got the bed.
What the model, the manufacturer is? Oh, I'm sorry, even all of it, pack.
That's your bid? That's his bid? That's your bid?
Ma'am, it's Empire, but I'm the manufacturer of the loader.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's what I want.
So what kind of loader did you want, Lee?
Pack knife.
Okay. Does it, and if it doesn't specify it yet, that's what you want?
Well, I mean,
Here-
I look at all of it.
Here's the
It's kind of
bottom.
like the X-Marks and the other stuff, you know?
Forward Chevy.
Right.
This has got a 24 cubic yard capacity, 18-foot body length.
Should say KB 20, something, see KB 20.
Yeah, KB 20 series. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the brochure now.
And it says Pac-Man real big on the back.
Okay. Any more questions on that bid?
Put it on back again.
Huh?
I said, would you like me to put it on back again?
Yeah, we can do that. Appreciate it. I'll do something like that.
Thank you.
All right, the next is from Waters International. This is out of Natchez, Mississippi. They have a bid, and this is for an international. And the cost on it is $142,607.86. And they could deliver on February 2020. On this other truck, when could it be delivered if it were to be agreed upon?
I'm not familiar with it.
Okay,
Probably that, but without seeing it.
okay. Just a question for us.
Depends on when the chassis would be available.
Okay,
And then it say what kind of body's on the back of that?
okay, this one has a,
It's got
what page was
on
it?
the front of on your very front specification.
Okay, it's got a PacMac KBF 220H. It's got the same thing, except it says, yeah, HJ, it's got the same thing as the other. 24 cubic yard dump body. That's a good idea, come on.
That's what I said. Come up here and look at these.
What do you ask for?
All right. The next one is on Scott Truck out of Monroe. And this one is going to be okay, he's got option 1 and 2. Option 1 is $138,177, and option 2 is $137,059 even, and that one has with exceptions.
Give that option one amount again.
Okay, option number 1 is $138,177, Also has the PacMac KBF 28HJ, and the truck is an international.
Okay.
Okay. You need any
What's
more
the
questions on
difference
that?
in
Okay.
What's the difference in option one and
I
option
didn't see
two?
what the exceptions were. Now, here's Scott Truck, the same company. I think this is the one that's probably a lease, maybe? I think this
That
is
one has a different body. It's on-
different body,
On
excuse
the
me.
envelope's written, I think Peterson, maybe?
This is Pac-Man here.
No, so,
This,
One's PacMac and one's Peterson, I believe.
okay, this is gonna be that one says PacMac.
Yeah, it's Pac-Man.
All right. This one says PacMac as well, but it's international, MB 607 4x2.
Mr. Peterson looked for TL3. That's my own problem. It would be a Peterson motor.
different trucks.
Different trucks.
Probably the same as MD.
Peterson.
This is what they call a Peterson.
That's a Peterson truck, right?
International truck. If Scott's selling it, it's got to be an international. They're gonna all be international. Scott
That's
International.
what this is. It's Peterson, this.
Yeah, it's a Peterson body.
They've got a lot of invoices in here. One of the estimates says 71,000
For the body, I guess.
for the Lightning loader.
Yeah, that's the body.
That's the body?
Not
71.
the truck.
Okay, where's the cost of the truck?
Should be on the front page there, on the backside.
Be on the back, is it? This was Scott, the second one?
There's a possibility
That's
that
it right
those
there.
two chassis, those two numbers, that he has an order chassis, and he may have one that's available. I don't know that.
I think that's what it is, and Jay, one of them's
One
available
of them he said
now.
was available.
So that's
One
the
I think
Peterson,
he
that's
said
the,
was labeled Peterson is
Okay.
available. but,
okay,
you know,
okay.
Option one is 144,122 even.
144,
144, 122. The other is 143,004, no cents. That says with exceptions. I think delivery on option one is between December, January 2019 and 20. And the other option two is October, November of 2019, which was in a month or so. And there is a lease option on that, but I don't think we want to be looking at that, so.
Do you prefer international or Freightliner?
Well, Freightliner is just fixing to start a store over in Natchez, like Waters International has to service internationals, but they hadn't built the building yet, so it's, you know, I would have to take it, if we got it in January, we'd have to take it somewhere other than Natchez to have it served. We'd have to haul it and tow it somewhere if something happened to it, so.
So if we went, I mean, I know we're supposed to go based on price, but if we went with Waters International that's in Natchez, they can service it right in Natchez.
Sure, they service all international products. All
So we don't have to buy it from them and get a service from them, is what
No,
you're saying?
no.
Gotcha.
So, council, the low bid of
138, 137, 059.
is the Scott, yeah, it's the, and that was the Freightliner
No, that was international.
International, excuse me.
International with a PacMac body, same truck we have now, with joystick control.
What did we determine was the difference between the 38 and the 37?
I think it was a different option on something, maybe a camera, or I didn't read it, so I don't know, I'd have to look and see what the option was.
But it's
He doesn't
not
put
much,
there.
it's,
Not a lot of difference.
yeah, about $1,000.
Sam, where is this one?
it's got to be in the chassis because it wasn't any,
Camera, we'll have a camera on the
the
back.
quotes, well, the quotes on the body were all the same.
Yeah.
So it's got to be something, a variation
On the chassis. Just have to look at it and see, I don't know what the difference would be.
This may be a radical statement, but we're talking about $5,000 total difference in the highest and the lowest, and the man whose crews are gonna run it haven't even been able to look and see at all the options. Can we just allow him to choose the one he wants
That's up to y'all.
with the options that he wants?
Mr. Mayor,
What? Council?
You can always make a motion to award the bid to the highest responsible bidder meeting the specs.
Lowest
Yeah.
responsible bidder meeting the specs, and the specs are his. I'll do that. So moved.
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Alderman Dorey, second by Alderman Probst. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, last item we have on our agenda is discussion of proposed projects for surplus hydroelectric royalties. We've had 2 public meetings, and some of y'all got to come to those, some of you didn't. And we've comprised a list, but I do want to explain the process of how this is supposed to work. It says that the mayor and board of aldermen shall annually compile a schedule of projects on which these surplus revenues are proposed to be expended. A summary of these projects shall be published and the public notified that details are available for public inspection. At the same time, a minimum of 2 public hearings shall be called to discuss the proposed projects and receive public input concerning possible alternative uses of surplus revenues. We kind of put the cart before the horse. We kind of got your ideas of what y'all would like to see as far as projects before we even start considering those. And this is the first time that I know of that we've actually held these meetings and are going through the process of how to spend this. And right now, that money totals a little over $1 million. We're going to be paying back a rebate or royalty to the people. It's right at $795,000 and some change north of that. That's going to be going back to our retail customers that were on our electric system last year. And so half of that is also available for a project, but there's about a little over $300,000, I think, Deborah, that was from a previous period that we didn't have a project that we spent the money on. So that makes it a little over $1 million that we're going to have, for projects. So, we talked about a lot of different things. What I would like for us to do tonight is for me to get with council and for us to actually pick out this list that you've got, and let's put several, there was 2 meetings, there's 2 pages of things that were brought up, and us comprise a list and have it then make it a short list that we will try to get costs to, and then bring back to the people to, hey, this is what we'd like to see instead of that, and have those 2 public hearings, listen to what you have to say about them, and move forward. There's a lot of great ideas on here, and I think it calls for council to come up with this list. So, but we went ahead and heard what you have to say. There was a lot of good social programs were mentioned. There was a lot of good capital projects that were mentioned. So there's a lot of things that we as a council are going to have to get together and probably have meetings with, and probably try to do it 1 or 2 at a time, and for them to prioritize which ones they would like to see us try to do. And then we'll come back to you as a group or as a community to, hey, this is what we've come up with. And it would be the council's group, kind of a joint effort on what they would like to spend it on. But then you would have the second chance voice on looking over what we do. We'll advertise it, have meetings, and you can make the call on if you like those things or not. Because a lot of things were brought up. There's 2 pages of ideas that people come up with. So there's a bunch of things on here. So with that being said, I'm going to ask the council here at this time, how would y'all like to pursue, picking which projects you want to do? How would y'all like to do that going forward? Just ideas.
There's a lot of them. You
There's
gotta,
a lot of them.
You gotta,
I mean, a lot of
you're
them.
gonna have to look at them.
A lot of them are redundant ideas. The same people said the same, different people said the same thing. A lot of them go along the same lines. So it's really not that long. It is 2 pages worth, but a lot of them are redundancy.
Whatever y'all's pleasure is. If we all want to have meetings, 1 or 2 at a time, and y'all get together and put together a list, and then we'll try to put a cost with those, and then come back, advertise, and let the people know. And hey, this is what this board would like to see us try to pursue. And so I'm just going to let y'all tell me how you'd like to do it. And we'll try to do that as soon as possible, so we don't have to wait.
Yeah, I think
one thing I do want to say, and I said this, I'm for all these things that's on there. Everybody had great ideas, but and I'm just going to use an example of if somebody wants a copy of this list, we'll get it for you, because there's several things on there. you know, I think the town's primary responsibility is to provide you good, clean water, make sure your power's consistent and you got a good, stable energy. Your gas is supplied to you. We pick up your trash and all those things first. And some of those things, it's going to be hard to tell somebody that we need to build another ball field if your water's dirty. It's hard to do those things if there's things out there that we feel like, as we hadn't taken into consideration, that we got to do other than what we've already got scheduled to do, then I think we should give a lot of weight to that as well, because that's important, and that's our first responsibility is to our people to give them these good services. And so with that in mind, I still would like to hear how y'all like to do it, because we'll schedule those meetings here pretty quickly.
So I think the question he's asking is, do y'all want to hash this out right now, or do y'all want to come in 2 by 2?
I don't think you can hash it out right now.
Okay.
I think we need
to sleep up.
Come together. Talk
So
about
let's
it.
schedule some 2 by 2 meetings and then present it to the townspeople perhaps at the next regularly scheduled board meeting.
Have y'all got, just real quick, is there anything on this list that you feel like is number one?
Well, you can
Just-
ask me that.
I'm just asking.
I think we
I'm
all
just
think
asking.
that we have a number one thing in our head.
I think
Maybe
all of us want to have a number one
if all
thing.
of us get one, almost,
That's-
one option.
Because I'm for the playground equipment,
And I'm
100%.
sure Robert's for that pumping station down there,
But
which
we can
is
eliminate
very
that
much
because he
needed.
said that it's allocated funds out there.
Yeah.
So I
We
would
can
rather-
get that. That's
yeah,
good.
if it's
Well, I
allocated
think that's a
funds out
very
there,
much
but I
needed
would rather
project.
do the curb and sidewalk appeal if that's my one.
Yeah.
If I know that it's guaranteed money potentially out there for the water pumping station.
Which you did say that, I mean, Heather, I thought Heather was here. Don't we have money for stuff like that? Don't we have a $10 million grant?
Well, we got that included in the request from GOSEF and FEMA for them to fund that because of the flooding and the issue that we've been having. We don't think this was an anomaly. We think we're going to start having these flood issues every year, and we've got to address that. We've got to get this water moved. I mean, we have the Mississippi River is just inundating our sewer system, and also we're taking on all the relief wells that the Corps of Engineers got. They're going into our drainage ditch, keeping it full year round when that river's up too. So,
Yeah.
and we're trying to help keep this water pumped out, so when we have a rain event, the day won't be near about as big a danger of maybe flooding as what it would be if we don't do something.
So you don't know if there's money available for that, Heather?
Not with the capital outlay. Now, through FEMA GOSEF, I know they looked at several projects for that.
How soon can we find out about it?
Well, I was on the phone with the state director for GOSEF yesterday, and I found out that the request had it all in there, and it totaled $5 million, all the things that we're trying to get
Right.
money for to fix, total $5 million, but on the ask, it's already gone to Congress. All of that wasn't in there, so they're trying to correct that to get that back into the ask. They said it's not any problem, it just might take a little longer, but I'm trying to tell them we need to start fixing things
Right.
now before we get too far over, and I need to know, because I want to fix these streets and get these sewers repaired for everybody. And we should have had all this done, but you got to wait on them. If nothing we can do about it.
Heather, what does that $10 million grant cover? Is that streets and curbs, and what was that for again?
It's electricity improvements for capacity, so like new substation, increased capacity at the water plant, increased capacity for sewer. The gas line would have been part of that, but we had that funded through another source, broadband. So it was increasing capacity for utilities, not for drainage.
So there was no money in that, because I think I distinctly remember saying that there was money in there for streets. So this was all for the substation, the water plant and everything as a result of the added capacity necessary at the industrial?
The port and all,
Yeah.
all combined.
Utility system improvement application.
Okay.
Now,
So Robert, you want to-
one of the things that I'd like to see us do, and I felt like this helped everybody, and I'm for all those other projects everybody mentioned, but, everybody knows about the LIPA #1 that we have, the power plant that we own. It's just not a good deal, but, June, July, September, and October, June July, August, and September are our highest utility bills. And I'd like to see us take some of those monies, which would total about $300-something thousand, pay that LEPA bill for those months, and that would help everybody on their utility bill. It's almost like another rebate for you in your household during those high summer months that would help you, offset some more costs. It'd almost be like another royalty. And I know I looked at it on my bill, and it would save me around $30 to $40 a month just through those months savings if we were to do that. And that's something that we can look at that's on the list as well. And that's whatever the council, I'm just telling you, one of the things I'd like to see us do, but if they come up with a different list, I'm fine with that. That's what we'll bring and go with that. But there's a lot of there's great ideas on here, it really is.
And we have 1.25 million in the budget for street repair, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so 1.25 million is already in the budget for street repair. Would that also include the curb and sidewalks that Alderman Gardner wants?
No, that's strictly for us to repair the roads that need, or the ones that need overlay.
Okay.
There's more streets that need overlay than just those that were damaged by seepage water. But what we've done, we've met with GOSEP and FEMA to look at, and they're putting a dollar amount on those repairs, what they'll pay for, because we're going to overlay those streets completely. And that's what we're waiting on them to tell us a dollar they're going to give us. So I'd rather spend their $500,000 or $1 million instead of ours if we're eligible for it. That's what I'm trying to do, and make sure that we're being good stewards of the money that we got.
Sounds to me like the alderman, we need to meet with you to kind of go over where in the budget is some of this already taken care of, what's not going to be taken care of, and kind of move some of them out of the way that way, so that we can look at a list that only has what we need to look at. Do you know what I mean by that?
But again, we want to hurry. We don't want to not drag it, but we don't want to hurry it, because until some of these questions are answered like he's talking about with the project that he's talking about, which is very important in my opinion, we need to see if that money is going to be available.
We're asking for $5 million.
Yeah.
So if we can get that money, that would be a big help. And then
yeah.
that street repair just went down from 1.2 in our budget that we got budgeted to fix it. We're going to fix anyway, even if they give it to us or not. That might go down to $200,000 or $300,000. So I mean, that's just it. But there's so many good things on here, y'all, and I'm just going to trust them. Whatever they want to come up with. One of the things that I'm trying to do is get with the school board on the street between the high school and the football field is horrible. It's almost embarrassing. We need to get that road fixed, overlaid, because that street's going to be crossed and walked on more than any street in the day in the next several months. And we need to do whatever we can to help push whoever to try to get that. Even if we have to wind up doing it, they won't do it. Is for us to do that, to put some pride back into our school.
I'm not on board with that at all.
Can that 1.2 city street or?
It's not a city street.
It's not a city
No, it's a connect street.
Going back behind the school, right by the football field. I do like I do the rest of it, go out the block.
Well, I'm just trying to bring light to it so we can get it fixed. If we got to do whatever we can to try to help it.
All the juries have a lot of schools on their streets, and if you have, I think, equipment free, you buy the product. We got all the meetings, they do it all the time, so might ask them, they may do it.
Definitely possibility.
If they drive on it one time, they'll think that. Okay, any other questions? So we're going to set up meetings. Pam will be getting with y'all, and we'll sit down and in groups of one or two with whoever wants to get together, and we'll comprise this list. What you pick, we'll try to do the research and see what the cost is associated with that, and then come back in the full council, let them approve it, and then we'll bring it to you guys to say, hey, yeah, that's great, or no, let's don't do that. Okay? Any other questions? Okay, do I hear a motion we adjourn?
Motion.
Motion made by Alderman Gardner, second by Alderman Dorey. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Stand adjourned.